Welcome to the Kinesio Outdoors podcast, where my goal is to educate you on how to safely enjoy exercise indoors and outdoors, inspire you to experience life outside, and encourage you to live a more active life closer to nature. Today on the podcast, I've got Sam McGuire. Thanks for joining me today, Sam. How are you?
Good, buddy.
Well, just to cut it right into it, the reason I wanted to have you on here, Sam, is I was really excited to try your copper rose bullets this fall, and I was fortunate to have success. I got two deer and an elk with them, and I wanted to talk about what I saw with these bullets, and then I wanted you to explain what I don't know, so that way I can have a better understanding moving forward as far as maybe loading, shot selection, things like that. So. If you don't mind, we'll just dive right into my first success, which was a blacktail hunt in Oregon. Sound good?
Yes, sir.
Sweet. So in Oregon, long story short, I had a blacktail buck, and it was a 35 to 40 yard shot. It was a frontal shot, and what I did is I put the bullet right on the inside of that onside leg, and the bullet went completely through the length of the deer and it broke the offside femur. And then I found the bullet fragment after it broke the femur. So I kind of crisscrossed that deer. After I shot, deer dropped, no surprise, right? And ended up finding out I broke the front leg and then I broke the opposite side back leg. Again, 35 yards, my muzzle velocity is 2,915 feet per second with a 125 grain copper rose bullet. So at that
And
distance,
that's in
that's
a
a
that's
hammer.
in a 6.5 PRC.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit low. I know we've talked in the past. I'm going to try to work up another load and see if,
Whatever works.
yeah, I mean, it does work. It works. It shoots really well. Um, People may have seen on Instagram. If not, check it out. I posted a picture of a group. I can cover a four-shot group with a dime at 100 yards. I don't know if I can shoot better than that, but I'm completely happy with that. So anyways, that was the first shot. Deer dropped and it tried to get up somehow. I don't know how. And when it put its onside leg, so the right leg, which is the one that I shot in front of, this time it was broadside. So I put a bullet behind that leg, just above the heart. So I had two bullets, right, one in front of the right side leg, and then one just behind it, just like you would aim on a broadside shot. Deer was done. Total, it was dead in 15 seconds or less. The first bullet I was able to recover, and I actually can't find it, but what I found is this is an original for those of you watching on YouTube, and the bullet stayed together just past where the I don't want to misspeak here, Sam, but it's hollow in the front, right? Even though it's a solid one piece, there is not solid copper all the way in the tip. Am I describing that correctly?
Yeah, there's a cavity behind
Cool. Thank you. Yeah,
the knee
cavity.
plat.
Yep. So the bullet that went through the femur, all I had was the back. I think it's about half, maybe two-thirds. Does that sound about right?
Yep.
Cool. So I
The
had that,
shank,
and go ahead. I'm sorry.
the shank or back of the bullet or
Perfect.
whatever.
Thank you. Yep. Yeah. So I had the shank. I weighed it. It was, I think it was right at 80 grains, and they're 125 to begin with. So super happy with that. But those petals, I mean, they broke apart and went through ribs, femur, went through the whole deer. I was super pleased with that. Um, Second bullet, the one behind the shoulder, that one I didn't find complete pass through. Again, 35, 40 yard shot. No surprise there. Now, what I want to know, and maybe you know, maybe you don't know, I'm really amazed that the bullet broke the front leg, and I haven't butchered that leg up on purpose because I want to do some kind of dissecting. But the
Mhm.
front leg, there's the scapula, and the scapula is a flat bone, and then there's a ridge on it, and people call it like the T. That bone was broken in half. So if you got the scapula, it was broken in half horizontally. And I'm not sure why that happened, but I know it was on the front side shot because I could see where the more damage was done towards the front of that leg, and then behind the leg there wasn't damage of like bruising done behind the leg there. So, do you have any ideas why that happened and how that happened?
How the bullet took out. I mean, like, so you're saying that the shoulder blade was blown up or broken?
Yeah, it was broken, but the bullet didn't
Yeah.
hit it.
Oh, that's just from shock. That's the bullet detonating. So when you have that bullet, the back of our bullets are not meant for like it. we have an expansion life to our projectiles.
Hmm.
The point of them is to be able to run them as fast as you want. They have it, and then basically there's a very wide window of where these bullets will operate and kill animals, and it's as fast as you want to run them. We have guys running them up into 4,000 plus feet per second, and
Uh-huh.
they'll kill all the way down to sub 2,000 feet per second.
Yep.
So having that happen, there's kind of an expansion life these bullets go through, and for the most part, they're doing the damage from the detonation of the front of the bullet. Like
Okay.
it's not tumbling, it's not yawing, it's not fragmentation. There's
Yep.
not enough material there to do the damage that those bullets do. So basically, that bullet goes in, stores the energy, and then detonates. And then you get the first, which is the detonation. The second is like the fragmentation, and then third is the back of the bullet. And the back of those bullets, as you saw, will penetrate 30, 40, 50 plus inches
Yeah.
sometimes. And it's kind of a good backup. Like they're going to travel through a lot of material. I've had animals hit on, let's say, a Texas heart shot, and you find the front of the bullet went all the way through. I'm sorry, the back of the bullet goes all the way through the animal and goes through the heart, winds up in the neck
Wow.
from a Texas heart shot. And so what that's from is the basically the bullet detonated, and you get like a wide area around that that's causing like bruising or damage being done.
Yeah.
Um, the good thing is it's not like you're not getting like lead fragmentation everywhere. Once you clean it up, it's clean, right? It's
Yep.
not like you have all this like speckled lead fragmentation all over the animal that you have to worry about. And so the front of the bullet can break up, and there's some variance there. But the thing is we don't. Um, there is variance due to velocity and shot angles and animals and material and all the stuff you're like shooting. Like, but the point of it is they kill the animals. Like that's what we want. Like I promise you, if you hadn't put a second shot in that deer, it's dead, right?
Oh, for
And I
sure.
understand. Like I run follow ups and all that, and like I had a deer this fall and shot him, and he's standing there, and I put a second one in him, and yeah, it was a mess. And it's like, so I get the follow up side of it, but yeah, the bullet's causing that from basically the detonation of the front of the bullet.
Okay,
So
great.
I'm not a weight retention guy. I don't care about as you go lower into the impact velocities, you'll start to retain that front, and it starts to do a little different work, but you still get from the front of that bullet operating and opening. That's causing the initial um, that's causing the initial permanent and temporary wound channels. And then after that, it turns into a mechanical process where it's actually physically cutting and pushing and doing all that.
Yeah, that definitely helps clear things up a little bit. And one thing I want to point out, so ever since I became a sporting lead-free ambassador, which is funny, I actually tried your bullets before I became an ambassador for them, and then they recommended
That's
your
awesome.
bullets. So I just thought that
Yep,
was
good
super
guys.
funny. Yeah, super nice. Brian's awesome. So it's funny that you mentioned that it becomes a mechanical process. Before I get to that and my next animal, which was an elk, um, it sounds like, and this is me trying to kind of understand from a physics perspective, it sounds like the copper petals, if it's going so fast, they shear off, and that's where I get
Yep.
the shank remaining, but the copper petals are breaking off. Is that correct?
Yeah, at the higher velocities, yes.
Cool. Yeah, and then that makes sense because again, 35 yards, I probably lost what, a couple dozen feet per
Yeah.
second, if that. I lost almost nothing, right? So that makes perfect sense. To your point, I knew the deer was dead, but follow-up shot, that's kind of always my thing.
Yeah, for
Probably
sure.
always gonna do that. Yeah, I knew that deer was dead. So that's gonna lead me to my second animal, which was an elk. And this elk, again, 6'5" PRC, muzzle velocity 29.15, I think, 29.14, 384 yard shot. Saw the bull, and I was shooting across the canyon into some hemlock dug for Christmas trees. They were
Right.
probably 12 to 15 feet tall, but they were spaced out enough that, we'd see the bull and then he'd be gone, and then we'd see the bull and then he'd be gone. He's feeding and moving. Um, so where I was for this unit had to be 3 points or better. As soon as I confirmed looking through my scope, I immediately put the crosshairs right where I wanted the shot. Let the shot ring, and I wasn't. stable, super stable in my bipod to watch the bullet hit, watch the impact. So the guy who was with me that was spotting goes, dude, you dropped it. And I was thinking, that's incredible. 384 yards, a 6.5 PRC. I just dropped this bull. I was aiming slightly quarter two. I was aiming right into the offside shoulder. So that was kind of my flight path that I was aiming for. Bull dropped. Long story short, Bull got up later and was now walking the other direction. I was able to confirm that it was the bull because I saw blood exactly where I was aiming. So put another bullet in it. I was able to watch the shot. My recoils managed a little better that time, and I watched the bull drop on that second shot. It rolled down the hill, and the bull was just laying there when I got over there. So I put two shots in that bull, and I was happy with the performance. Now the performance with the first shot is what I found. I actually went through the back straps. So I was below the
Oh
spine.
yeah.
I went through the back straps, which is why it dropped. And go ahead and correct me if I'm wrong, but at 384 yards, I don't know my muzzle velocity, I didn't check. But at 384 yards, the bullet was going fast enough that there was some shock just below the spine in the back strap that caused it to drop. Does that make sense?
So like when I take hunters out, we
Hmm.
go through a bit like a shot placement
Yep.
on pigs or deer or elk or whatever. And tons of people, when you miss, most people miss high.
Yep.
Not miss, but let's say if there's variation to the shot, goes high.
Yep.
And people's brains tend to go center of center. So like especially like a wild boar, you're not aiming center of center on a wild boar. Everything's low and into the shoulder. And so, and I warn guys, like if you hit above the spine, this is where like people get into this like there's a dead zone in the rig. There's none of
Yeah.
that exists. There is no dead zone. Okay. If you get the projectile through the thoracic cavity, the rib cage,
Hmm.
it's gonna kill them. There's things that can vary with where the lungs are and the vitals are, but your diaphragm pushes your lungs, or actually they work together,
Yep.
and there is no space inside there. And so you'll see this all the time. I shot him in the no, I shot him in the void, or I shot him in the no zone, or whatever, blah blah blah. What that is they hit above the spine, they hit the spinal ridges, it shocks them, they drop, they get up and then run off. And then and if you see an animal just straight drop, that's not a good sign.
Hmm.
You would rather see them kind of stand there for a second and then or run the like and hear that like thud, then have them just drop out of sight. When they drop out of sight, you need to be back on the gun ready to go again.
Yep.
So that makes sense. It's above when that bullet hits, yeah, at 300 and whatever yards. That bullet's still got a lot of juice left in it.
Yeah, that was
And
exactly my thought.
yeah, yeah. And
Okay.
so, and then the second one, yeah, sounds like you freaking smacked him and whatever. But yeah, it's definitely like really studying vital structures and stuff like that is very important. People need to look at that a lot more because I mean, I'd be guiding in Wyoming and it would just be like over and over and over. These guys making bad shots. And I'm like, you guys got to aim. Like I got to the point where I was telling guys, aim at the shoulder, like
Hmm.
aim at the shoulder because everybody was aiming like middle body and bad stuff was happening.
Yeah.
So really identifying that spot. But if I see animals drop, I'm back on the gun ready to shoot them again. Like
Yeah.
100%.
Yep, and that's exactly what I did. I stayed on the gun for 20 minutes just because you never know, right? Exactly like you said.
Yes.
Now, my second shot was a high shoulder shot, and it was a little more uphill from me. So high shoulder, and the bullet lodged in the spine, which is why I dropped
Okay.
the second time.
Well, drop. Yeah.
For those of you watching the video, this is the aftermath. So Sam calls these the copper rose. I didn't weigh it. I guess I could have. Um,
That's
the bullet stayed together very well. And you can see the expansion on it is a lot more than the original 264 millimeters. I'll compare it to another bullet here. So this is a regular one, kind of to show. So side by side, it's 2.5 times maybe expansion. But that's still, when you think about it, that's not a big hole, right? It's not archery. We're not slicing a
yeah.
2-inch hole using an expandable. There's a lot more to this. I was really impressed with the fact that at 384 yards, this bullet went through the shoulder, lodged into the spine. It still stayed intact. And it still had the, knockdown power from a 6.5 PRC. I was very pleased with that. Now, one thing, because you mentioned missing high, I feel, and this could be overconfidence, I feel like I've shot enough things that I usually know exactly where I'm aiming. And the reason I say that is that deer that I just talked about previous to this elk, my friend was like, okay, so where'd you shoot it? And I told him, my first bullet's going to be here, my second bullet's going to be here.
Right.
And we went over, and the bullets were exactly where I said. I don't black out when I shoot. What I think happened is my muzzle velocity or the calculator I was using were incorrect. And I think that because I think I was like 2 or 3 tenths of a mil off, which would put me at about 6 inches high at 380 yards.
And that happens.
I
That's
think that's
zero.
what
I
it
mean,
was.
yep, scopes are 100%. That's like scopes are um, scopes and ballistic programs. These things need to be true together, especially as you start getting out there. That zone there is like a really bad zone for that because you're still inside of the animal,
Yep.
right? Once
Yep.
you get out 600 yards, if you're whatever 0.3 mil high,
Yep.
you're
We
probably
miss.
sending it over. Yeah, it's a miss or whatever.
Yeah,
If you're a
exactly.
minute, and so at that zone there, that's like the bad zone where you're still hitting, but you're not. So yeah,
Yeah.
checking zeros and ballistic programs and all that, and just and truing your stuff. But yeah, that's like 100%.
Yeah, I
That
think that's what
we've had
happened.
that quite a we I've had that. I start trusting a gun too much, and I don't check that zero, and it's like it'll bite you, you know. So they
Yeah,
are
and
mechanical, and they can fail.
yeah. And the bummer part is so we'll just kind of address the fact that your bullets cost quite a bit of money. To me, it's
Right.
absolutely worth it. I just bought some more this November because I'm going to load up some for my 30-06, which we'll talk about in a bit here. They're a little expensive, so I didn't want to go and check and walk the gun out to 400 yards, right? I just didn't want to do that. So what I did is I checked other bullets. I shoot ELDXs just for like I call it plinking. I
Right.
can get them really cheap, and I'm just practicing being a good shot, being a good marksman. And then I sight in with these copper roses, 2 shots at 100, make sure I'm on. And my muzzle velocity I thought was going to be correct. I used the Garmin Zero chronograph. I checked the ELDXs. I walked to 2 and 300 yards. I was shooting a 6 inch gong and I didn't miss. So I assumed that the chronograph was on. I'm not sure. I got really consistent readings. I shot 3 bullets to chronograph it, and I got 29-13 and 29-15 and 29-15. So I mean they were like all the exact same. Um, so I'm not sure if it was the scope or the ballistic calculator, but somewhere there was an issue. I, like you said, I could have checked with these bullets, so that's something that I'll need to do in the
Yeah.
future. Just get over it. It's only a
So
couple.
we do here's a little side note to that. We sell a 135 Steel Slayer projectile. The
Mhm.
135 is the 125 without the cap. You can shoot almost the same load with the same BC with the same profile for what would cost a decent like uh, top end max grade bullet.
Yep.
Not at the cost of ours. They're like 60% as much. So and we make a match Steel Slayer for every bullet we make. We can make them on demand. Somebody wants them. My recommendation is you take those out and you go shoot the heck out of them, and you will
Yep.
learn everything you need to know about the 125. Very little fine tuning from there. So we accommodate with a match bullet at a much more reasonable price for practice.
I wish I would have known that because I would have bought some. When we jump off, I might have to buy some off you,
Yeah.
off the
It's
website here.
like they line up almost perfect. I tell guys like if you're going to break in a barrel, that's what they're designed for. They
Yeah.
are, and I've shot them same. I mean, there's variations with all this, but like I've ran them in NRL hunter matches, and it's the same load as our 125 at the same velocity,
Mhm.
shooting the same BC, and go out and I'll run a match, and I have very little truing back and forth. Like
Yeah.
it's almost identical. And
That's
so
great to know.
yeah, and they're not. Yeah, they're I don't know half the price or something like that. So
Yeah. You might make another sale when we jump off here. So,
well,
anyways, back to the bullet performance side. So this is why I truly wanted to have you on the podcast. Every time I shot something this year, I'd send you just a quick text with a picture, which by the way, you were super supportive. Thanks, I appreciate that. And I sent you a picture of this bullet here. For those of you watching, it's the 125 grain copper rose, and there's it looks like sideways force applied to it. So almost a shear force applied to it. So what I mean is if you imagine the bullet kind of straight on like the tip of a pencil, now take the tip of a pencil, turn it sideways, and it looks like there's a shear force coming that way. So I text it to you. And what happened was I was with another person. We both had elk tags. He didn't have any more shots. I still had, I still had bullets in the gun. He
Right.
told me to put his elk down for him, so that's what I did. He had already shot the elk. It was gonna die, but we just wanted it down. So when I shot, I was aiming. I think I was aiming right behind the shoulder, and shoot. And again, this bull dropped, which I was amazed by. I've never shot anything that dropped. I've shot stuff in the heart, and the deer continued to run. So again, 380 yards, this bull dropped. So we had two bulls dropped at 384 yards. Well, this one, when we got up there, again, bulls are dead. So now we're at the skinning pole. We got the both bulls out whole. That's a whole nother story. And we're skinning, and Matt's looking at the back leg. He goes, "Oh, there's like, did someone shot it in the back leg?" I was like, "I have no idea how that happened. Like, I feel really confident in my shooting." So we dig it out, and we find this bullet here. And what we can see is the cavity, the front of the cavity there towards the tip is sheared off. You can see a little bit into the cavity. And then the back of the bullet, the back of the shank, is bent as well. So this bullet went through sideways and tumbled through the back leg. And again, the bull was going to die. That just kind of put it on the ground for us.
Is there any possibility of you clipping something like a branch or something?
And that's exactly what I was getting into. Yeah, thank you, Sam. So I'm shooting across canyon. My side, I'm very clear. The other side was Christmas trees, as I mentioned.
Right.
What I think happened is the branches were so small, right? 384 yards, that's pretty far.
Yes.
I think I clipped a branch and then it went off course. And the reason I think it was at the elk side versus my side is if you deviate the flight path of a bullet a 16th of an inch and it still has almost 400 yards to go, you're gonna miss clean, right? So I think exactly what you just said. And this is where I was really impressed with you because I sent you photos of the bullets. I sent you the one that I pulled out of the spine that went through the shoulder, and then I sent you the one next to it, and you go, "Oh yeah, you shot through brush." I was like, "No, I didn't." Well, then you explained to me, and you sent me a picture of I think a client's bullet who clipped some brush, and yeah, you were exactly right. The bullet went in maybe not perfectly sideways, but it didn't go in straight. The bullet did its job, and it really beat up that bull's leg pretty bad. But that is something that happened. To me, that's a benefit of this bullet over a lead because it still stayed together, and we just pulled out the copper bits, like you mentioned earlier. We cleaned up around it, and we actually saved most of the leg. It didn't just blow up on impact, which was really nice.
I had that personally happen this year.
Oh, okay.
So we had a friend of mine. We were hunting Colorado, and bull's buried back in some juniper, stands up, clear shot. He shoots, and it's like the same thing, right? Shoot it till it's down. So he shoots. I see the first one set. It's like 525 yards, 25 Creedmoor, and our 122. And I see the first one just go sends right into the, right into the lungs. And then he shoots and he goes high. And the third one, I saw it hit branches. And I get down there. I said, I bet I know that one. We're gonna probably see one that's went into the bull sideways.
Yep.
Get down there, sure as heck. There's an entry hole like this big, and I thought that was the only one. When we skin it, and on the backside, we find the back of the bullet on one. We find two different projectiles, the back and then one that's basically like the one you found.
Yeah.
And entry hole going in it's like if they don't hit dead on straight, they need that hydraulic pressure inside of them
Yep.
to operate. And so if they go off slightly off, that they're affected. That's kind of the thing with tumbling too. I'm not really into the tumbling bullet thing because we've tried it. I've seen it. We've done testing. The path through the animal, the wound channels are erratic. You could shoot them in one spot and the bullet goes way off and it doesn't travel in a straight line. You can make a good shot and that thing winds up going in a weird direction and marginally wounding the animal or something. Like we want that bullet to go straight, opens up, and you get a cone type wound channel through the animal in the line of the thing. So I saw that personally with us, And then I had another customer send me the same thing. He had the two bullets, one perfect, and the other one it was perfectly blown. The front of it was blown off, and the second one was like bent over. And I'm like, "You shooting through brush?" And he goes, he sends me a picture, and it's just nothing but oak brush. He was shooting through it at
Yeah.
a elk in Colorado. So that's where we've tracked it back to. Not to say we can't make mistakes, and that's not how our bullets should operate. They should never tumble or do anything like that.
Yeah.
The front of it should come back. But that's one thing. Like, definitely, like if they hit, if they destabilize or anything, and they don't hit face forward, then that can happen. Still kills them, but it was kind of cool. It was really cool for me because I got to check the wound channels, and um I got to, really do a necropsy on it and
Hmm.
compare the two. They're both in the same lung. There's two holes in it, and it was like our our performance, how we have it designed, is just complete, like way more devastating than a
Yeah.
tumbler bullet. So that was kind of cool to see. So, I mean, we have seen in some of the extreme range testing we've done is once they don't expand, they will on our impact testing start to tumble and stuff like that.
Interesting.
Um, so yeah, it's you definitely don't want to clip stuff, and it's, yeah, like I said, not to say like we have a failure or something like that. As long as we're doing our job on our end and making these things to the specs that we have set,
Yeah.
that should not happen. So I've been able to track everyone back to hitting a limb or something shooting through brush.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's exactly what happened to me. So, that one right there is the biggest reason why I wanted you on here is first of all, it was amazing that you immediately were like, "Oh yeah, you shot through brush." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" Reflecting on it, you were definitely right. Yeah, so thanks for that explanation. Now let's get into the third one. I don't know if you remember, but I got the copper rose and then the copper rose hollow points a year ago.
Yep.
So for my third tag, we'll call it, I was on a deer hunt in Montana and I was using the hollow points and I was super excited because in conversations with you, you mentioned that the hollow point ballistically under, I think, 300 yards, just use your load for your regular copper rose
Yep.
and you're going to be good to go. So I was super excited to try it. Hunting my parents' place in Northwest Montana, a 300-yard shot is like a major accomplishment to find somewhere you can see that far. It's pretty thick. So, long story short, last morning, didn't see anything, kind of getting ready to pack up, just got back to the cabin. 40 yards away from the cabin, there's a buck, and all I see is it's a big buck. So, grab the gun. It wasn't even with me, I'd already put it in the cabin, and get the gun, go out, shoot it. And I shot it when it was moving through brush. It was for sure through brush. Now, put the scope up, and as soon as I saw fur through it, pulled the trigger and the buck drops. So walk up closer. Um, it was down. It was down. It was, just a couple last breaths, but kind of double tap mentality. Shoot it again. This time I shot it back of the neck. So deer's down. That one was shot maybe 35, 40 yards. Again, super close. Um, and this one is interesting. I want to get your take on this one. So I found that my entrance shot was through the neck. The bullet exited behind the shoulder. So obviously it was quarter two, right? And when it did that, the neck was a little beat up. It broke the leg again that it exited behind, and the bullet passed completely through. Now, it was close, but the bullet almost seems like maybe the spine caused it to deviate path and then go out
Mm-hmm.
behind that leg. I was, I don't know. I'm kind of curious your thoughts on that. I was thinking the hollow point would maybe expand and kind of get stuck in the deer. But go
Mm.
ahead. I'm curious your
Pretty,
thoughts on
pretty,
that one.
pretty similar. Pretty similar. They're pretty similar to the copper rose. I
Okay.
mean, at the same given velocities, there is a little bit of differences. Um, you have to watch out with hollow points. You can't get the holes to plug.
Hmm.
Um, they need to stay open to work. They
Yep.
collapse on themselves, then you're in trouble. We haven't had any problems with that, but they can. Seems like the copper rose has an ability to bypass some stuff that could cause that issue and get inside and then start to operate.
Yeah.
The hollow point immediately starts to expand.
Yeah. And
No, I mean,
while
as
you
long
do
as
that,
it,
I'm going to hold up a hollow point here so people can see. This is a brand new hollow point. It's a pretty big hole, which is
yeah,
why you're saying that expansion happens so quickly. So sorry to cut you off, Sam, but for those watching, I thought this would be a nice visual to help.
there you go. Yeah. So it's a good, if you're not shooting over 300 yards, if you're not dialing the distance, there's no reason. I mean, if you're not dialing the distance and you are looking for a more economical projectile, that's the bullet you should choose.
Yeah.
They work great, lots of terminal performance. No BC. The BCs aren't very good on them, but the BC doesn't really matter until you get into extended ranges anyway. So just a simple rule to follow is if you're not dialing the distance and you're trying to be economical, the hollow points are a great option. So,
Yeah, and again, it dropped that buck. Um, for those of you that haven't seen, check out my Instagram. It might have been on your Instagram too. It was a big deer. I'm 5'10", 150, so I'm pretty skinny. And I have a picture of me next to that deer, and I look small next to that deer. It
send
was,
me a picture. Send me a picture of it again when we get off.
yeah,
I don't know if I put. I don't know if I put it up or not. But we got kind of inundated this year with pictures, so I got a lot to catch up on.
yeah, of
But
course.
yeah, look, you did great, man. Thank you again for shooting them, and yeah, it's really cool to see. And you're doing a heck of a job, man, knocking some meat down for the family.
Oh, I actually had to buy a second freezer, which was I thought it was cool. My wife wasn't too pleased about it, but yeah, it was cool. I had a really good year. I was very, very fortunate, which was
Yeah,
cool.
it's awesome.
Yeah, I'm just happy to have found these bullets. It's cool that you're also from California. So I think I was texting you over Christmas that I went by the Slow Reservoir, saw that big herd
Oh yeah,
all spread out around the reservoir, which is pretty cool. So it's cool for me to support someone that's California. Copper bullets. Now that I'm a SLF ambassador, I'm trying to get people who are pretty well knowledgeable with this stuff to just encourage that like copper bullets are useful. They are really dependable. They are efficient. They're built well, especially yours. So appreciate that. Again, appreciate when I text you things. You sound almost excited as I am. If you're not as excited, you're really good at faking it because your texts
no,
come back pretty
I
excited.
love it, man. Yeah, I love it. I mean, that's you guys like you are supporting our business, and we're just a small, family run business that's trying to make a better hunting bullet. So, and every single one of our customers is important to us. Anything I can help with, I always try to take the time to do. And yeah, I mean, our customers are everything to us.
Yeah, and with that, I'll say one quick thing because that's the perfect thing to end on. You were really helpful with things to try with developing my loads. You were really helpful troubleshooting kind of what happened with shooting of the elk. And you've just been, again, a really supportive, like really positive person with the copper bullets. So I appreciate that. Appreciate the now friendship. And before we jump off, where can people find you if they don't already follow you?
Yeah, just McGuireballistics.com, McGuire.ballistics on Instagram, Facebook, whatever. And then yeah, pretty simple as that. So and yeah, appreciate it on our side.
Well, great. With that, we'll jump off the podcast here. So thanks everybody for listening. We'll catch you on the next one.